Hello.
Hi, Valerio. It's Tom Hartmann here.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Hi, can you see me?
Yeah, wait, I'll put the camera too. Hi.
Hello. Well, thanks very much for taking the time today to speak to us. I'm really excited to speak to you and talk about Gomorrah Girl and really get to know a bit about your process and the project and share that with our readers.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
So I want to know, first of all, Valerio, I know you're from Milan.
Yeah.
And I was curious to know how you became aware of the murder of Annalisa Durante and became interested in the subculture that she was a part of in Naples, and how you came to photograph that.
Well, I actually knew about Annalisa directly on the road. Let's say what I was on my third, fourth trip to Naples. I met in Forcella her father, Giovanni, and the friend of mine that was driving me around in that day told me the whole story. I knew that there were three murders in 2004 in Naples that had involved women, and I was hit by the story of the 14-year-old girl, but I didn't know probably even the name of her at first. I knew that only though in that year there was the three female homicides, and then I met Giovanni and I started to speak with him, and I asked him if I can record our conversation voice with a voice recorder, and he told me yes, and I took a picture with a Kodachrome with a Yashica, the small camera, of a necklace of Annalisa, because I was totally hit by her beauty and by the story that he told me. And so mainly I knew about that on the road while I was shooting there. You know, after 2-3 trips to the place, when you come back home and you have almost nothing in the hands, you know, you look at the picture you have, and you mainly took the picture out of the box and you look at them. And after the couple of trips, I started to understand that I like to work a lot in two particular areas, and then I started to document myself around that. And then, so I found before the homicide kings in 2004, and after I met personally Giovanni, and that was tough. It was that hit me in a way. So yeah.
Had you ever photographed in a similar area or in a similar situation to the one you found in Naples?
Impossible. It's no. I never. I mean, I've been in Naples for other purposes, but I never even tried to work in an area that dangerous in my life, because I came from maybe I started with commercial photography, fashion photography background. So it was actually when I had enough of that I started to work on this project, and I started to fall in love basically about the old city, the old people there, and girls and guys that live inside, just in the middle of drug dealing market, and huge, and but totally like they are in Piazza del Duomo in Milan. You know, for them it's not that dangerous to live there because they know each other a lot. But for any other person going there, it's pretty dangerous, especially Scampia, north of Naples. It's quite dangerous. Yeah.
So how did you manage to sort of insinuate yourself into that group of people? Did it take an introduction from Annalisa's father, for example, or was it something where you sort of were on the periphery and then gradually became more in the mix yourself? Or how did tell us about how you gradually got into positions where you could photograph your subjects so intimately? Because I think that's a really important aspect of the book, and one of its most beautiful qualities, really, the intimacy of the pictures.
Thank you. Well, that I'm afraid that came from that kind of. The question is in two parts, so I answer the intimacy is something that I have searched since I took a camera in my hand, basically. So whether I was in fashion before, or portraits, whether I was an actress, important actress, or whether I was a person, I'm usually struck by faces and and strength of the eyes, of the look of a person, and usually adolescents and young people. When I see a beauty like that, I just stay still, can't move almost. I'm freeze, and I think the intimacy that I see in my picture is done by a really brief moment, because I'm really eager to escape of that situation, because I'm almost afraid of that power and beauty on me, that has on me at least. I'm fascinated totally. So I have few seconds where I can take a roll of pictures, or I shot in medium format usually, and so I have 10 pictures or 20, depends. And but I'm really almost scared and need to escape. And the intimacy is the the result of that brief moment. To enter in those situations and areas, I started from a school, sorry, working from a school in Naples, in Scampia. There's only one female school, let's say. It's called Liceo Elsa Morante, and I knew about that. It was a school with very good professors that had many difficulties to teach there, because some relatives in Gomorrah, which is the Neapolitan mafia, and Neapolitan MOB as US people call, but it's the same. Gomorrah is specific for Napoli and Campania. They try to shut the school down very often, so they put a lot of water in it or fire, because they don't want their kids go to school to learn something. They just want them out of school. This doesn't happen every day, but the teachers are inside that situation, so they go out and you have drug dealing, and they are heroes to me. So first I met the manager of the school and asked the permission to shoot inside the classes and to shoot the girls, and he agreed. He actually said you have to ask the boss of the Regione Campania, and it was a mess, of bureaucratical mess, but in the end he agreed, and I started to be there with them in classes. So I was like, I received questions from the professor asking me things that I didn't study since ages, and I was immediately in it. And then I started to follow lives outside the school, asking permission clearly to the relatives of the girls when they were underage, and it started like that. Then I gained their trust, and I show pictures after. When I came back to Naples, I was living in Paris at the time. So when I fly back to Naples, I bring some prints and everything. And so there are some places where you can go take picture of those girls, and some where you cannot. So when there's high drug dealing level, you cannot go there and take pictures. You should ask permission, because basically you stop the business while you enter there. For them, it's business. Like for you run your magazine, and for me taking pictures, they sell drugs, and it's it's not good, but it's business for the bosses. So you should talk to them before to enter in an area to take some pictures, and in any way they don't protect you from anything. So you have to have your friend or fixer or whatever, somebody that can help you to go out with your cameras and of some situation and get in, and especially go out, I have to say.
Tell us about a typical day spent shooting the images for Gomorrah Girl.
Okay. It's pretty hard to define a typical day. I usually used to stay there a week, a month, depends. Typical day is like, I try to live their lives mainly, so if I'm shooting the girls that I know, so I really literally go to school with them. So I enter in the classes with 8 a.m. and I really follow lessons with them. So I have the freedom, and I had the freedom in that situation. Let's say I'm speaking about the Lyceum, to jump from class to another. So I know every professor, they share my project and between them. So they were very, very helpful with me. And so I stay at school in the morning, let's say basically. I say the typical day, then it varies a lot. In the afternoon, I can go around with the person that drives me there, with a friend of mine, and we try to enter in some areas where you cannot go in usually. So you go with the car and you see if you can get closer to something or not. And you can be lucky or not. So sometimes they want to push you away. So if you don't know people there, they ask you, are you buying drugs or are you a journalist? So there's no other options. You're a drug addict or a journalist. You're nothing else. They recognize you by far. I mean, by distance. They just approach you and pushing you out of the area. So we try to get in, and when we're in, we try to stay in. So when we meet somebody that we can know better, we try to talk with them a lot. You talk a lot in these cases. So you enter apartments, and they're very, very warm. So once the first approach is like, I would say a bad word, but okay, what the fuck are you doing here? Just get out, go away. We don't want you here. We're gonna kill you if you don't go away just now. That's the approach. The hello in some of those places. Then, if they see you scared, they become more aggressive and they push you out. If they see you calm, for instance, the person with me just light a cigarette and say, "Who's the boss?" And he starts to approach them in that way. Then they come down. So you can enter. Then once you are with them in their apartment, you can never go out because they start to, cook pizza for you and watch TV together and talk a lot. In some cases, they want kids to be in television, but it's a pretty much low culture area. In some situation, they watch terrible TV shows all day, really terrible. And so the average is like, oh, can you make my kid famous or something like that? So you try to not to do that, at least say that it's not possible, that it's better not to, if you can have a choice. And so you spend a lot of time with them, basically. Then by night, again, you go again in some areas when you try to go, and that's it, mainly. Then I work with Italian police too, sometimes. It really depends, it varies. That's the typical days like that. I rarely work by night, because it's more calm. It's not even that dangerous, but the afternoon is pretty dangerous in Scampia, in some areas, especially around the school, what they call the Smurfs house. My night is pretty normal, I have to say. So that's the typical day, but it really varies. The beauty of Naples is that it's pretty difficult to plan. You can have an empty day. People that say, okay, let's see each other at 3 p.m. Then you go there and nobody shows up, or you call and say, I'm sorry, my husband is in jail. That he just got in jail this morning. I cannot. Some people lie, some people don't. Few people lie, I have to say. It really depends, but it's beautiful. I mean, it's really life to me, I have to say.
Did you find that some of what you feel are the most moving or successful images from the project came out of those sort of more spontaneous days, or were they sometimes the result of shoots that were more planned, or was it really a mix of both?
That's an interesting question. The picture that I like the most, it came out, I tell you how. I applied once in my life only, in 2009, for the permanent visa resident for US. And when I was in Paris, because a friend of mine told me, makeup artist told me, oh, you should come over in New York, you should live in New York. So once, nothing to do, I applied in afternoon in Paris. Then I got lucky enough to be chosen to have the residency permanent for US. And the only embassy where you have to retire to take your card, the green card, is Naples. It's the American embassy in Naples, Italy. So I took my cameras, and I went there 3 days. You have to make interviews, talk, convince them that you really want to live in US and everything, and which is true actually. And so they give you the green card. While I was hanging out at the embassy, US embassy there, you cannot even take a picture in that US embassy clearly, so cameras outside. So I went out with a couple of friends that I met there, that I knew there just taking the green card as I was. I saw, and the embassy in Naples, American embassy, is one of the most beautiful places in Naples. It's just by the sea, Mergellina. I mean, you Americans are special for that. You choose the right places. And just wonderful place where usually, rich people goes to take a bath, usually. But then you have everybody, clearly is not. Then I saw a group of 20 people, which are recognized by, 300 meters away. That was from Secondigliano, the area where I used to shoot. And I saw this girl, which is the girl with the pink bikini, it's the girl in the middle of the book, actually. And I just was, okay, again, like like stuck by this beauty. I say, okay, I have to take a picture of this girl. So this friend of mine helped me in that case to stop the whole group and say, he's an artist. Can we do a picture? So to take a picture of her, because she was there with the boss of the group from Secondigliano again, actually a guy from Gomorrah. I have to take a picture, this is the old trick that photographers use sometimes, to take a picture of everybody, like you're interested in everybody when you have in mind just that girl, or that person. So I took a picture of everybody, like 20 people, kids, any age. Then it came to her that only wants to take a picture with the boss of the group and the boss of the area, actually. So I take a picture together and I say, can I picture you alone, the boss? And then I picture her alone, 2 shots. And that to me, just to tell you how random can be to have the great shot. To me, that is the portrait that I care about. I mean, I love them all, I have to say, as usual, but I think it's nothing original to say that. But that picture to me is striking because the beauty of that look, the strength of that look in the eyes that she has, the way of looking is really, to me, a sum of all Scampia, Mortario of Naples, Forcello, of everything. That girl can be Annalisa at age, my thought was, this girl can be Annalisa at 20, 16, 17, very upset for what happened to her, in a way, in my thoughts. So I was like, totally like, I have to take a picture of her, it's like I'm going around searching for Annalisa, basically, in some way. And basically I did that in the end. And I recognize that even in the book and in all the pictures I took there. So it's pretty random. They're not staged. There are very few pictures are staged, and usually the staged pictures are something that I don't put in the project in the end. But they're really. I like to do stage portrait. Like, okay, I want to take a portrait of you, but it's simple. So 2-3 shots, that's it. But you cannot really call stage. You just walk around and have enough luck to meet these incredible girls. That was it.
And the portrait you're speaking of is actually on the wall behind you right now.
Yeah,
is that right?
This one.
Yeah,
right.
It's an incredible shot, and there's so much, obviously, as you said, in the expression on her face, and it's really, really compelling and resonant, I think. So that's thank you for sharing that. And
Thank you for asking.
in looking at the book, one of the things that strikes me is that there are several sort of trajectories, if you will, from victim to criminal, from innocence to experience, sort of criminal experience specifically, and maybe even beginning with the shot of the medallion, from a certain piety or devotion or faith to criminality. Did you sense those trajectories fairly early on, or are these things that really came out as you worked more and more on the project?
Well, usually it was basically my first project, serious. Like, okay, I devote my years of life to that. I quit doing what I'm doing. I just want to be in Naples and shoot. So I can only speak for that, clearly. And you basically start and you don't know what to do. So as I mentioned before, you do 2-3 trips and you say, oh, I'm just losing my time. Then, for instance, for the Annalisa medallion that you mentioned, it was a Kodachrome, so I have to process it. Now you cannot process it anymore, but I have to process it in the US and wait for the result back in 15 days in Italy, Paris at the moment. So when I had back that picture, I was like, okay, this is a starting point. I mean, this is definitely crucial to what I'm searching, for what I'm working on. Then again, working like and moving, around in Naples, you find other things, but only in the end, what you really have in your hands. It's not really something that you understand at the start. But especially me, I really need to, a step-by-step project. When I knew about the whole Annalisa story, I'm really curious. So I was, I called the police. Mainly say, okay, I want to know all about this. I want to take a picture of the evidences of this murder. I really want to picture the bullet that entered in her head, because it's crazy. I had the beauty in a way and the bullet the other way. I have these two things in my head that was like, and that was probably the origin of the whole idea for the book. When the evidences of the murder on the side and the portraits of Annalisa and then the girls on the other side. Then somebody from Italian police, actually from Procura della Repubblica, a great woman, I have to say, Anna Canfora, told me, as soon as I'm alive, there's no photographer, there is not a police officer that would take a picture of an original evidence of a murder. But since the case is closed, the guy is in jail, it's public, so you can go and have a look to the picture, to the forensic police, and you can take pictures of the pictures. And I was like, okay, perfect. I was pretty depressed and disappointed by that, because I really wanted to shoot the objects. Then when I saw the Moleskine of the police, they had me on the table and they were so supportive, telling the whole story. I recorded all their ideas about that. And I actually knew more than Giovanni, the father, knew about it, because I saw other pictures and everything that they didn't show in the trial. And so I was like, okay, I take a picture of this without even knowing why I was taking the pictures. But I was like, one picture after the other, each page, just like taking notes from this Moleskine, in a way. Then I got home, I got the idea with a friend of mine helped me, why, this is something, you have to use all these pictures, and I was like, all of them can be boring. And then the idea of the book came out, so to mix portraits and police files together. So it's really a process, like from the start to the end, and it was long, but spontaneous, definitely.
So the concept to mix those photos was that your idea, or were you working with a book designer who helped you arrive at that decision?
No, well, I work with probably one of the best book designer worldwide, which is Sieber and Kuiper, and he helped a lot in drawing the layout of the book. So making my picture smaller and police file bigger. He has an incredible idea to keep the original format of the Moleskine size. My initial idea was a book inside a book. So I approached him with this idea. I want to do 2 books in one. So I knew his work. I know he's very good with cutting papers in different sizes and putting them together. And so I really chose the designer basically on books that I like. And he was, I think, amazed by the project, and he accepted to work on this. And he came up with this idea. So the most difficult part for me at the beginning was to accept that my pictures were vertical in the book. So when I presented the book in Milan, you have people like that, watching at a screen and a PDF, turning pages. And a friend of mine told me, you're going to break necks of people like this. It's crazy. You should do a classical book and whatever. But if I choose a designer, I did a self-published magazine before. It was about literature, culture, fashion, whatever. But now we closed it after a few issues. Too expensive and too time to be on it. So when I choose to work with a designer, I trust him blindly. So I renounce totally at the idea and the love that I have for my pictures, and I abandon myself to work with him. So I have to say that I follow him in the season of the A4 size, which is probably the size and the format that I hate the most worldwide. Literally, when I received the book, I was like, I hate this book. It's, the page too thin, it's too fragile. Then you start to see a copy destroyed, and you like it. It's something strange, but you like it. So in the end, I'm okay. But first days were tough. Then some friends from Magnum told me, you will never like a book of yourself. There was always something that you will change, the title, the layout, different. So, and it's true. Maybe even the designer after, so you never know. But I was lucky to work with this guy because he did an incredible job. But the idea actually of the book in the book started a year before. And when I was talking to Liz Sarfati, that helped me a lot to the process. Mm-hmm. So she was encouraging me a lot and say, the way you picture women and girls, it's pretty rare. So, and if she say that to you, it's pretty good. I was like, thank you very much. And I show her all my work, and she say, you should go for your idea of the book in the book, and it's definitely powerful. So there are so many people involved that help me that it's pretty hard to name them. But Alex Maioli from Magnum did so much, and Daria Birang, his wife, can be endless. But everybody that I know puts so much in this that I can almost not consider it my project. It's like it lives on its own in a way. So it's not even me. Me, I took pictures. And
well, that's very gracious of you, but it obviously took a considerable amount of not only technical skill and compositional skill, but also courage to do the project. I think that's clear in what you've been talking about, and also in the images themselves of the environment. To shift the focus a little bit, one of the things about Stated is that we really try to pull back the curtain on the creative process for readers, and so I do like to talk with other photographers about the sort of gear side, the equipment side of things. And I was curious, you mentioned that you shot the images in medium format. I'm guessing 6x7.
Yeah. I use a lot of cameras, but if it's you want to know which camera I use and the technical things.
Yeah, sure. What was your primary camera for Gomorrah Girl, and what secondary? I think there's a Polaroid obviously in the book. Did you use a mix of film and digital? Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about the equipment that you used.
Well, first of all, I'm just like any people that wonder how you did that and how you shoot that. So I'm happy that sometimes I get this question, because it's like I understand that it can be totally helpful for anybody. But in my case, it's pretty strange, because literally I can buy a camera, which I did in Naples, for Naples, and sell it after a week. So I made a whole thing that can be probably a chapter for the new. I'm thinking about the second edition already, because the book is sold out. So I bought an Olympus, for instance, and shot for 1 week, then came back and sold it straight away, just because I need money to keep going for the project. So mainly it's like come back and then you use your old camera. So I use mainly, my main camera is Mamiya 7 II, which is the camera that I not even own right now, because I sold it after, again, long money. Oh, no. So I mainly use the camera, or I borrow cameras from friends a lot. A friend of mine here, Luca Santese, borrowed me. That picture is shot with his camera, actually, Mamiya 7 II, 65 millimeters, that he bought because he asked me, is it a good camera? I said, beautiful. So he bought it, he still has it. He's young enough to stay on eBay and find the best deal from Hong Kong, whatever. He gets to an incredible price. The same camera in Paris, you get 3 times that money. He was lucky enough to get it to 800 euros. And so I use that, but mainly I borrow. I have some things that I like. I use a lot the Ricoh. It's the JX100. It's pretty old. Mm-hmm. But it's lovely. It's fast enough and small enough. The drug-addicted picture of the school is taken with that. So you just take out of the pocket and shoot. Which digital, I use it mainly as I don't even look through it. I just shot without looking what I'm framing. So okay, I have an idea. So with Ricoh, I'm pretty confident, because I can probably look in another direction and I know how I'm going to frame to my right if I'm looking to the left. Mm-hmm. More or less, because it's a wide-angle lens. I use it always at that range. Mamiya is more when I totally, like I say fall in love, but like when I'm stuck from a beauty, whether it's a girl or a guy, and I want to take a portraits of this and to document this beauty in a way. When I want to document a beauty, I use film camera big. So I like to use 8x10 camera or 4x5, but it's not really my style. So Mamiya is like a small 4x5 in a way. So you just have I don't never use tripod, and so you just have this and tuck. And I like the rangefinder also a lot, more than the simple digital viewfinder or whatever, the normal cameras. So yeah, it's Mamiya 7 II, the main camera, with 80 millimeters and 65 millimeters and lenses, and sometimes Pentax 6.7 also, the 2, which is lighter. All the medium format camera that are light enough and very good quality lens to resemble to a 4x5 are, I'm attracted with them. And then digital. I need the digital small and, easy to take out of your pocket. And I bought now a Fuji X100, for instance. I'm not happy with it because it's too big and it's slow for me, and you need to look through the viewfinder to in order to take a good picture. But then it's low. It's just low. Digital, I'm not really a fan, I have to say. And
Really?
like that's it. So and some flashes here and there with pocket sync if I need to light some apartments or situations and things like that. But mainly very light equipment, not huge stuff.
When you finished a day of shooting, did you, well, since you were working mostly in film, you had that lag time between getting the the prints back and then taking a look at them. What was your editing process like throughout the shoot? Maybe you could tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I understand the first part of the question was like, are you going to watch the picture of digital that you took during the day? You were almost asking that. I always shoot digital. Even if I film with me, I always shoot digital. So when I see
both at the same time.
I use digital as a Polaroid almost. Like
okay.
If I like it, I say okay, I can go with a portrait here or something like that sometimes. So in the end of the day, I always have files to look at, and I always do that. Unless I shot until 1, 2 a.m. and I'm destroyed and I have to wake up early next morning. But you always back up when you come back to the hotel, the apartment where you stay. I always do 2, 3 backups at the same time just to not to lose the work. So sometimes when I have time, I look at them. In other moments, I don't have time because there are many, or whether I don't have time. So I just look at them when I have time the next day. But I always look at it between the 24 or 48 hours when I shot it. For film, clearly, it's about airplanes, safety, these things that scares me most, and I still didn't get it a lot because some have some machines, some airport and others. It's pretty dangerous and crazy. But usually that when I come back, the editing process is it's pretty easy because I knew the picture that I have inside the roll. So if I shot film, I know that picture, for instance, I knew that I have it. And I knew that I have that picture when I saw the girl 200 meters away. I mean, I really want that picture. It's random the way how it happens to shoot that, but it's definitely what I wanted to have. Anything else, it's not important, just that type of picture to me. So the editing process in that sense is pretty easy. It's more about when you edit the body of work. There I need help because I can do my edit. For instance, Daria Bierang, Alex Maioli's wife, she helped me a lot. She's a genius in edit. I mean, she has to do that as a work because she's incredible, and especially from a woman point of view, which is something that I need when I edit something. So I had probably 6, 7 different edits before the final edit, and it's a different process. But editing pictures is simple because when you have 20 pictures per roll, you have this. It can be 3, 4, I have to say. But then if I go back, I can change the book again from the start. So
right.
Better to go back, and I have to now because I want to expand of 8 more pictures for the second edition. If I'm going to do it, I'm reasoning on it now because there are still people that wants to buy the book, and I keep receiving mails, and I have to go again on that now. But it's going to be easy because I have choices already done, mainly from the first time. But the editing process is as important as shooting in Naples, I have to say.
For the second edition, are you going to maintain the same format? Or are you going to like hardcover, for example, or a paperback format? Or what are your thoughts there?
Well, first of all, I didn't choose the hardcover for budget right. Because it was too expensive. So Sid came out with the idea, amazing, Sid, the designer, of amazing on the side and terrible on the other. To use 100 grams paper for the big, for the cover, which is like mainly when I talk, when I mentioned I did the book, the word is spread now. So everybody, I have to see your book. You show me your book, and when you show it, it's like this is okay. This is a booklet. It's a magazine. It's anything but a book. So they really expect the hardcover. But this aspect, I like it. The hardcover, I don't think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna keep this. I'm reasoning of keeping the same format. Probably doing for sure something different to have something special for this edition and not similar because it it would be only a commercial action if I reprint the second edition as the first one, and it's not even interesting to, I think, to anybody. I mean, you can have 100 or 200 people buying that, but that's it. But I have some requests from people that bought probably 4 or 5 copies of the first one about why, and especially some friends, pretty good photographers too, that told me, you should do a second edition slightly different from the first. So I'm reasoning on this slightly different part, but for sure it won't be an hardcover because it's not about, Naples is not about an hardcover, I think. Naples is about exactly what Sebring did, and he totally got the whole thing about the project, I have to say, because it's okay that the copy gets ruined in your hands, and you can protect as you want, but it's going to be ruined. So it's okay, it's a wonderful object as it is. So to change from that second edition, I'm not sure about that. But I'm going to add pictures in some way. So I'm reasoning about designing different things for second edition, only for the second edition. So, but I'm asking prices in these days. So I'm just really, let's see what happens.
Right. Do you know off the top of your head, or even a ballpark, how many total images? I mean, if you factor both film and digital, how many total images you took over the course of the project?
Oh no, it's impossible. I never even thought about that. I mean, digital is like hard disk of stuff, like probably, I don't know, terabytes. And film probably I can tell you easily, but even there, I don't know. I might took I can say 300 films probably, something like that. Because it's not that I'm shooting boom 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 like that. I really, when I have a situation, I shoot 3-4 pictures maximum of the situation. I can go up to 10, but again, as I said, I have a kind of a urgency to escape of the situation that I'm shooting. When it's dangerous, for sure, for saving my life, but I'm rarely lucky. When I have a portrait like that to do, I can handle that look for 2-3 shots, no more. After I'm gone. I can, especially when I knew that I have the picture, I don't need to take any picture more. So I took the digital, just, you never know, airplane destroy the film, whatever, so you have the backup. But mainly I don't shoot that much, so yeah, I'll say probably 200-300 rolls, 250.
Now, how did you know, Valerio, when the project was done, or did you simply have to end it for other reasons?
No, when I risked my life, I was there's a picture that's called The School, where you have drug addicted, a girl actually getting a shot in the arm. Right. After that, I shot with a digital camera.
That's an amazing photograph, by the way.
Yeah,
really amazing.
But you have to see the situation to the left of the picture, because I didn't, have time to take a picture of that, because everybody was on me and the guy with me, and it's inside a place that now they destroyed, that they call The School, when people get there to get their shot, and nobody ever shot a picture like that there, actually, and I shot that not because I'm courageous or something, but because I came from a different world, and I thought, okay, that's cool, I take a snapshot, and then everybody saw the light from my camera, and I had all the people around me with needles here, blood coming out of the arms, like huge, like I don't know how to say, like huge drop of blood. And like, okay, you're doing a video, you're gonna tell to our relatives, and we're gonna kill you. And they literally surround us. It was 150, 200 people, and that was really a bad moment for me, I have to say. I'm not used to that, So I'm not a reportage photographer or something, but even Alex Maioli, very good friend of mine, he was here at this table where I'm talking to you with Chris Anderson, another amazing Magnum photographer, and looking at the picture, Alex was saying to Chris, this is the worst place on earth to take a picture. I mean, it's simple. He's been there and didn't take a picture there. So, and for me, it was not about courage. It was about, wow, great light. That's the girl that I want to take a picture of. Let me take a shoot. Like totally not reason about the consequences. Then in the evening, the guy that brought me there, which works as a fixer in Naples, brings TVs around, BBC and Italian television and everything, told me, it's you've been brave because nobody shot there. And once a colleague did it, and he vomited just a minute after, because it's like hell on earth. And to me, I just want to take that picture, and that was it. But there, that night, I really reasoned like, is it worth it to risk? To really risk my life for a project? And there, I started the idea to let's close this in some way. So instead of going back for 2 weeks, I was 4 days, 5 days, then 3 days, because I knew what I wanted to close the whole thing, and I knew that I want to put a word end to all of this, because it can be endless. When I love something like I do with Naples, I can shoot that for all my life. So this might be a volume 1, you never know, because I can really go on forever there. So in a way, I have to fix an end to all this, and to say, okay, let's stop here and do something with it, because let's show it around. Let's do a book, maybe, which is what was fun, I have to say, in the end.
Well, I feel physically uncomfortable when I look at that image, because I can only imagine what it was like to be in that situation, and it's clearly a life-threatening situation, and clearly not a place that most people would walk into. So I really admire the courage that you took in taking that shot and making it happen, and it's such an arresting image. I can't help but wonder too, Valerio, in terms of your subjects in the book. Since the publication of Gomorrah Girl, do you have any sense that their situation has changed, or has the project in any way impacted them positively due to, for example, increased public awareness of the situation in which they live, or the situation in the red and blue sail? Maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Well, not at all, I have to say. First of all, it's I didn't print so many copies to become like a worldwide, I'm pretty positive that nothing will change there for years. It's really impossible. It's too. I spoke a lot with Italian police there, and sometimes they don't even go there. They don't even put a foot there, because they say, it's just, some of them told me, let them kill themselves, or you have to drop a bomb there. And I thought like, okay, fascist, Italian police. I really had jokes with them, because they thought that I'm left-winged, and this. I was like, okay, but you have to take care about that, because it's impossible. Then when I risked my life there, I thought about the bomb, because those drug addicts are really like zombies. They just come to you and against you, and they have their own idea that you have that video in the camera, even if it was just a picture, and that you were there just to make them their life worse and everything. So I have to say that nothing will change there. The only thing that can change, first of all, they don't have the money in the pocket to go away from there. I'm speaking about the girls that I shot, So in a way, I was scared about the echo that the work can have in Italy, because it actually happened like 2 weeks ago. A very important measure, Italian television, called me to ask me to be in live in the studio, speaking about how difficult it is to live in Naples. And I was like, we're going to talk about your book. I said, I don't care about my book in television. It's few copies and it's almost sold out. So it's not about that. You can come with a girl that you shot if you want, and to tell the story how difficult it is to live there. So I said, no way. First of all, they watch your channel there 24 hours a day, which is what makes their life worse. So if I take one of these girls and I put inside this, it's like a cortocircuito, we say, when electricity is like exploding something, the electricity goes in the wrong sense, and and I say it's not just possible. Girl over 18, clearly I can ask if they want to come, they're free to do, but I will definitely suggest them not to, because some of them is exactly what they want to do. They want to be in television, and show themselves. But many of the girls that I picture won't. So I approached one of them. Actually, a German magazine asked me to make a single story with one girl. I was even there very protective with them, because, they can say to friends, I'm famous or something like that. And I was like, I asked her, are you interested in that? It's a serious magazine from Germany. So I was like, okay. And she said, okay, but then the photo editor of this magazine, for instance, disappeared after 2 weeks. And it probably will show up again. But in a way, I disturbed the life of a girl there for this, hoping that she can get a few monies from that or something. But even there, I'm scared about the visibility of their of their lives there, and there's no interest for me to go in television to say it's very difficult to live in Scampia. It's a tough life, especially to have a girl saying that girl gonna come back in the place the day after. So there's no way that you have. And maybe say, I was in television, and maybe the journalist would do some stupid question, not as smart as yours, but like, is it difficult to live there? Something like that. So I was like, no way. So nothing will change there, I think. Nothing. For decades, I'm afraid. Nothing. Just to tell you a short story, the place where I took that picture, the school, the drug addict picture, they destroyed the whole place, and Gomorrah rebuilt it in aluminum the very next day, because it's too important for them as drug dealing place. So it's really, and the thing was on the newspaper, like, finally the school is destroyed, we fight the criminality, whatever. Very next day, brand new in aluminum, again, 300 people per hour going there and getting the shot. So to let that situation change is difficult. I don't have a receipt for that. I'm nobody for that. But as I knew, the first thing would be starting from Italian television. That can be a very good point, because Italian television is a joke. I mean, I cannot even explain you in US how is, this hours of it. We have some programs even in US that can resemble to Italian television, but Italian television is all like the worst programs that I can see in US. So, and those girls watches the program. So they want to be, probably some of them, they want to be naked, not naked, but in bikini, dancing on a table while a serious journalist is giving a news, and because that the role of a woman in Italian television is that, mainly naked, long legs, breasts, showing the breasts, something, and the man is always like impeccable, like dressed in the suit and everything. So it's I will start from there. If really somebody wants to change something, I mean, or you shut down the television, or you do something there. There are some realities of people that try to build some projects there, but they're really with no money. Money goes in the wrong direction. They do it like really starting from the basement of the whole situation and try to build, but it's never ending. It's like, it's too powerful. Be at home, turn it on. Canale 5 is called the channel that I'm speaking about, so I'm okay with that too. And you see all these fake stories and everything, and want to be there, So imagine my surprise when this channel contacted me to be on that television to speak about Naples. I was like, in a way, I was interested because it's like interesting as a project, to let this project be inside something that I saw there, that was representative of the half of their life. The afternoon they just watch TVs there. It's always on that channel, 24 hours a day probably, in families. But I don't think that anything will change. I'm pretty positive on that. Anything. I'm sorry to say that, but this country, I mean, Italy is pretty in a bad situation, as you probably know. But what is happening to the prime minister and everything is pretty a symbol to what is all about here. And I'm not saying that this doesn't happen in any other place on earth, almost, but it's a joke. And we don't have a public opinion here in France. If only Sarkozy tries to do something like a tenth of what Berlusconi did, you have people going down in the streets and burn all the cars until Bastille, probably. So in Italy, they just keep watching television and watching football and watching, ballerinas naked and everything. So it's crazy, but it's like that. That is the start to me. And until we're going to have that type of television, and it's getting worse and worse, there's no way that in Naples can change anything. So that's it.
So as a documentarian now, or documentary photographer, don't you hope, though, that projects that you work on could potentially, if nothing else, at least increase public awareness and have a positive impact that way? I mean, is that not part of the reason for doing the projects? No, at all. I'm sorry to answer like that, but what happened was when the book came out, it was a big article, a big column on the major newspaper in Italy, which is called La Repubblica,
And it was funny because that day the title was Berlusconi and Ruby, which is this ballerina anyway that started in a way mess of Berlusconi, and to the right my pictures in Naples. So I take a shot of the computer of my Mac that day because it was like crazy. And a girl from Naples called me. They say, hey, they just stopped me in the metro station, say that I'm on a newspaper. Why don't you come back to shoot more pictures of me? Something like that. So it's not possible that the channels where my book is distributed or where my pictures are going, galleries or whether it's a museum, can get an impact on the public opinion in Italy, because they are really literally there to watch Canale 5. This channel is like it's almost like your Fox television.
Oh.
NBC,
right.
You know what I mean? So
sure.
It's something like that. So it's impossible. That's why when the Italian Fox television, let's say, contacted me to go on air to talk, I was like, half of it was like, hey, maybe we can change something. The other half was like, no way. I mean, they're gonna say whatever they want, and you will not be able to say a word against.
Take it out of context. Yeah.
It's too small my project to go against this huge machine, but I still admire. It's like a little wheel that's starting to go on the contrary sense. I can think about that as this, but it's very little, and it's going like this backward instead of this huge. But there's huge wheels that are going forward. So I don't think that I have this power, but I don't know. I don't think I have this. I wish, but. Mine is not like a picture that I say, oh, look at how bad is the situation there. In a way, it's the opposite. Look how beautiful person and look and how they dress, colored and happy and powerful in that situation when they are. It's not like poor girl or like poor girls that live in the bad areas. I never shot a picture in black and white in Naples. You have a literature of Naples black and white picture of amazing artists and masters, but to me it was in color. Naples is in color. It's not black and white to me. So to me it was a positive approach because I like there. And but I don't think I have the power to change anything.
So looking forward, you've already mentioned getting together a possible second edition of Gomorrah Girl. Do you, and you also mentioned earlier on your previous experience in fashion and other areas of commercial photography. Do you see your own course as a photographer moving forward? Do you see your course combining documentary work with commercial work, or has this project influenced you to focus primarily on documentary work as you continue your own career?
Well, mainly I started to shoot this kind of project because I had enough of fashion, and commercial, and meetings like speaking with words that doesn't even exist on a dictionary, and say, this girl has to be, they say very much Mediterraneità, which is, I cannot even translate that. It's about Mediterranean Sea that we have here, and they made it, an adjective of that, and it's a substantive of that. It's not possible to. I was like, enough, and then you see 200-300 girls in a casting, and you have a client here, and they say, oh, badass, that terrible, that nice, tits, like, sometimes it's not funny, and it was really impersonal. So I started in that way. So clearly, when somebody asks me to shoot something commercial, I do, because with that money I can stay 2 months in Naples probably, or one, I don't know, whatever, or where my next project is going. And so I'm not that stupid, but I won't add any single picture of. While I'm talking to you, there's an advertising that I did in France, 4 by 3 meters around in the street. So that money helped me to finish to pay the printer for the first edition, right, for instance. So I will never say no, never again commercial in my life. But I will never mix them. I'm pretty clear on what I want to do in my life, and it's mainly making books and making projects and making pictures for gallery that are kind enough to invite me for my work. So there's nothing better in life, I think, than making books. And it's incredible. And clearly after taking pictures. So when I walk in the street and I see somebody, I always I have to take a picture of that, but it's not a project. So it's nothing behind, just, amazing. I'm sure that I can talk with the girl or the guy that I meet and find a project, like a whole life behind. But I'm like that since 10 years, 15 years. Just I never thought about quitting totally fashion and giving 3 years of my life to something else, which is mainly what I did in the last 2 years and a half, 3 of my life. So I was, I quitted seeing clients. My agent in France dropped me saying, or you go to clients to meet them, or you cannot stay in Naples forever. When the main question was like, when are you gonna finish Naples? Nobody believed in that project, So I was like, I don't know, but I don't want to meet a stylist to talk about, how beautiful it is this year, the chiffon, or whatever, because I don't care. It just has no sense to me. But I respect their work and I work with them. I have a lot of friends in that work, but it's not what I go crazy for now. So, but I can shoot a picture, a fashion picture, really easy. And but I have much more fun to shoot, a portrait with nobody around, instead of having 20 people crew around, doing mainly, I don't say nothing, but, you don't need 20 people to take one picture. You need probably 3, if you need. So it's all exaggerated. I mean, in fashion, it's really, I respect a lot fashion, and but to me, there are probably 4 or 5 photographers that, that you really need the pictures of. All the others, it's no sense to me. So, and I was in fashion, I think myself as one of them. So I rather prefer to go around and tell stories and do books and shoot pictures instead of concentrate my life on the next new phase in fashion.
Do you? We're just about out of time, Valerio, and I wonder just if in parting, and again, because some of our readers are likely contemplating projects of their own, documentary projects. I wonder if, based on your experience with Gomorrah Girl, you might have some just brief words of advice for someone who similarly has found a project that they really want to start to work on and is about to embark on that.
Okay. Well, on my experience, I have to say the first thing that I can tell you, never give up. Ever. I mean, just go straight for what you're doing, even if you don't believe in what you're doing. And that's the first advice. And the second advice is ask friends' opinion, ask master opinion, master of photography around, there are many, and show your pictures and ask for advice and improve yourself. Might be that the pictures are not good, and especially to me, is all about the story. I mean, it's plenty of books with no story in it, and to me, it's about the story. So if you're telling me something, but you can even not have a story inside, but if you're telling me something and it's like, tuck me in and tell me more, as a friend used to say, like, really, tell me about that. So just go ahead and even if you don't like your pictures and you don't have nothing in your hands, but you think that the idea is good and you like to do that, just go back and shoot again. And if it's wrong, shoot again, then shoot again. It's about dedication. It's about really giving up all the rest, and obsession. It's almost an obsession, I have to say. What you need to build a very good, solid body of work mainly is obsession and dedication to something, and being specific, not here and there. I should picture trees, especially now in Flickr era, iPhone. And in San Francisco, a friend of mine just saw a few days ago. A girl with the new iPhone 4S, I guess, taking a picture with 8 megabytes, and the picture was much brighter and beautiful than the 5D2 that he has in his hands. It was like, okay, my job is over. Where can I go?
Don't say that. I'm a 5D Mark II shooter.
Yes, you see. So prepare, because within, I don't know the release date in US, but here is 28th of October. There will be a 12 years old kid that will take the best shot of technically of your 3,000-4,000 euros camera. So. Especially with that around, you need to be specific, and that is beautiful and personal, because it's really about you and what you think when you have time to think about something. That is your obsession. So that is something that I encourage everybody to do. Follow mainly their life, what they like more. So I cannot suggest to use a camera one than the other. Just use what you like the most and what you have. You can use the Mark II or you can use the iPhone. just tell me a story about yourself. That's what I wanted to see from somebody. I mean, mainly that.
Well, Valerio, thanks so much for spending an hour of your afternoon speaking with us. I've really enjoyed it, and I wish you all the best with the second edition and with future projects. And I hope if you're coming to New York, you'll let us know. It'd be great to meet again and get an update on what you're working on.
Absolutely. It'd be my pleasure. Sorry again for leaving so early because I have to anticipate. There's a solo exhibition coming up in Flatland Gallery in Utrecht on the 27th, and that was the reason because I had to anticipate my flight of 1 week, and we missed the video interview there, which I love to do, and it'll be definitely my pleasure to contact you and see you in New York as soon as I come back.
That'll be great. Well, have a great rest of the day, and once again, my thanks. It's really been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye, Valerio.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.